What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe with No Days Off DFS, here to bring you guys that NBA slate breakdown for, I want to say it's a 8-game slate. Yeah, we're going all the way up to the late games tonight. Hopefully, you guys have been having a pretty good week so far. Of course, another week just started yesterday. To be very honest, I've been a little sidetracked at watching some of the college basketball hoops going on. This is the most fun I've actually had watching college hoops, at least until last night. If you guys don't know, one of the prodigy children of the WNBA that would have been coming to us soon, and well, next 2 years she would have been coming to us. Juju Watkins tore ACL last night, man. Yep, it sucked. Really did suck, man. Really did suck. It was really sad to see that right there. But you know, I know injuries are a part of the game sometimes, and sometimes you wish that things like that didn't happen. But life goes on. Life goes on. We're here to talk about the NBA. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get this broken down. So, with that being said, if you guys new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the content your boy drops over here on the channel. And drop a like on this video if this video or any of my other videos help you guys win some money. Now, if you guys are looking for my content, my core that I'm playing for the slate, or any of the news and stuff that I drop, there's two spots where you can get that information at. One of them is right here on YouTube. You can click that join button right there next to the subscribe button so you can get access to my feed over here on YouTube where I put all my posts at. And the other spot is going to be the Patreon for that. The link for that is in the description below. Now I got all the little housekeeping stuff out the way. A quick little injury report that we got to go over for today to get ready for the slate. Some injury news, of course. First game, would it be the NBA if we didn't have to worry about somebody being injured, hurt, or out? We got Castle. He's game time decision currently right now. Hopefully he's good to go and can play. If he's going to be out, I would imagine we might just get Vassell moved up to 2, and then we can get Keldon Johnson or someone like that slid into the starting lineup, or they could move Harrison Barnes to the 3, and then you can get Sochan started. So definitely pay attention to that right there. Over on the other side, flip side, we got Cade Cunningham, who was a late scratch last game, and I really think they were just trying to lose the game. So keep an eye on that. Detroit doing some funky stuff right now, probably for some playoff seeding or something like that of that nature. There is no telling what the heck they're doing over there in Detroit, and I'm not even going to try to figure it out. But both Tim Hardaway Jr. and Cade Cunningham are both a game time decision. And I think it was either Cade or not Cade, Hardaway or Beasley. One of those guys left the last game injured, if I'm not mistaken. Orlando taking on Charlotte Hornets. Orlando was on the back end of a back-to-back. Hornets, nothing that we got to worry about for them. Real big thing over here for Orlando. Cole Anthony still dealing with that toe, foot, whatever he's got going on, so he's more likely going to be out. Corey Joseph should be the starter. Golden State Warriors taking on Miami. Yes, the revenge game of Jimmy Butler going back to Miami. We got that gracing us today. Steph Curry game time decision, possible for him to be out. If he's going to be out, Pod's just going to end up getting the start at the point guard spot, and they'll do a little shift up. Maybe you'll get either Post or the other Santos or something like that might be in the starting line, and everyone just on the flip side of things over here for Miami, Tyler Hero, he's good to go. Duncan Robinson game time decision, might be in, might be out. Hopefully we'll get that clarification by the time it comes close to the slate lock. Nothing else we got to really worry about over here for them. Dallas, back in the back for them. Anthony Davis did play yesterday, was limited in his minutes, expected to be out today. They've already announced it that he was not going to play on the back-to-back, so we should get regular starting lineup over here for Dallas, what we've seen already before, which is Den Shitty, Klay Thompson, Najee Marsh, PJ Washington, and Kai Jones. Gafford, Lively, both of those guys still out, so it's Dante Exum. On the New York Knickerbocker side of things, Jalen Brunson, he's still out dealing with his injury. Miles McBride is actually going to be out, so we will get Cameron Payne starting again. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys right now, going on over to DraftKings, site I play the most on the site, where if you guys don't got an account, you want one, definitely check the link down in the description below so you guys get that deposit match bonus. Cameron Payne is pretty much going to be one of your locks of the night right here, 4,600. It's just take the value right there, just straight up. I'm just going to rip the band-aid off and just let you know. You should be having Cameron Payne inside your line. I don't care if you're building 150. You should be over the field with how much Cameron Payne should be owned, because he's going to go out there and play 30-ish minutes, 30 to 35 minutes like what he does out there, and he's going to be able to produce in that time frame. So just don't worry about it. Don't question it. Just go ahead and play campaign. Outside of that, of course, you got the regular old starters and stuff over here for them. None else we got to worry about or get too deep into over there. Atlanta taking on Houston. Trae Young game time decision, expected to play. Clint Capella's still out. Larry Nance is out. And Kasem or the other Wallace brother, he's out. Houston Rockets side of things, Reed Shepard, that's the only thing over there. For the Memphis Grizzlies taking on Utah, Ja is still going to be out. Bagley is out. Pullins is out. Stevens is out. So we should get either it's going to be Scottie Pippen Jr. or it's going to be Luke Kennard. They keep flipping flopping who starts or whatnot, but hopefully it's Scottie Pippen, because I do like Scottie Pippen for everything that he does. We'll get more of that over there when we get to the breakdown. For the Utah side of things, John Collins already been ruled out. Laurie Larkin is already ruled out. Jordan Clarkson is a game time decision. Cleveland Cavaliers taking on Portland. Donovan Mitchell's already been ruled out. Tyson has been ruled out as well. So we should get either Isaac Okoro, DeAndre Hunter, Dean Wade. One of those guys will get shifted and moved into the starting lineup. Of course, that's the 10 p.m. game. We're going to have to wait. So if you're saving a slot for that, definitely save it. On the Portland side of things, Jeremy Grant has already been ruled out. DeAndre Ayton is out. Time Lord is out. So clean his minutes somewhat should be secure. Banton, the Bant God, he is a game time decision. Got to pay attention to that right there. And then last but not least, my OKC Thunder. We got some injury updates for us. Jalen Williams looked like he was going to be game time decision to play today. So might be finally back from that hip ailment that he had going on. And Chet Holmgren, he also might be back today as well. So we might get full strength OKC going up against Sacramento Queens, who I believe are on the back end of a back-to-back. Played last night. Malik Monk game time decision. So up and down if he's going to be playing today. Again, head on over to DraftKings. Looking at it, if you guys have not already, we got the $15 50K up to first. Definitely check that out if you guys are looking to try to get your lottery ticket for the day. Not bad at all. I would take a shot at it right there. Starting with Orlando, like I said, they are on the back end of a back-to-back. Played really well versus the Lakers, and I 10,000% figured that they were going to win that game. Lakers on the road was one of those things, but just the fact of having Bron being back and trying to integrate Rui and all that stuff, they didn't look like it was gelling too well. Orlando, the way that Cade's been playing, the way that Paulo's been playing over the last couple games, and then just the explosion that you had from France as well last night, it just set up for a beautiful game from them. And I love the upside of that game. Definitely, I saw a lot of people on the Lakers money line. I was like, bro, no, the Lakers are not winning this game. And it's not because I am not the biggest Faker fan. I'm gonna be very honest, I'm not. But it's just looking at it, just the metrics, nothing just made sense to me over there from the Faker side of things. I really was high on Orlando. And then also at the same time, the other game I was very high on, and which I wish I would have went ahead and jumped on it. I talked about it. You could ask the boys. I talked about it quite a bit. And that was the Chicago Bulls taking on Denver. I figured that somebody was going to be wrestling from Denver. The spread was like -3, but I love the upside of taking the Bulls, their money line, or taking +3, +4, +5, something on them. I just really felt like they were going to pull it out, and it looked like it was going to be scary in the beginning because they got smacked up in the face. But Josh Giddey did what Josh Giddey does. Kobe White has been on a tear. I can go on a tangent, but let me get back. Let me pull it back in. Orlando taking on Charlotte Hornets. Over here, it's our normal suspects that we would take over here from Orlando. Paolo, Franz, both those guys will normally be in play, but again, we got other players on the slate that actually are right around the same price range, or also some really great value. As you guys can see, the cover photo picture, Jaren Jackson Jr., we're going to get to his price tag as well. Definitely sharing the spot with Paulo. Paulo is going to be low on today. Nobody's going to want to click on that game. It's the first game of the slate. No one's going to really truly care to go here to Paulo, and I don't blame them. I don't really care to go here to Paulo. I don't see the need to, especially coming off of the high minutes. He played 40 minutes last night. I would imagine maybe some type of limitation, and this is Charlotte Hornets who do not care to win. So I don't see myself needing to get up here. I will admit this is definitely one of those spots that Paulo and Franz will be low owned. Now, the value that I do think we can get over here would be looking at someone like Corey Joseph, who is here. He's been playing decent minutes over here. He's giving us not a 0. That's what I like to see from Corey Joseph, and that's what I'll continue to look for. Outside of Corey Joseph, this could definitely be a spot where I can see Anthony Black, who played 30 minutes last night. The minutes are kind of ticking up a little bit for him. He's not starting, but he's still playing some decent minutes over here. And I don't mind taking a swing. If you're making multiple lines, definitely wouldn't mind taking a swing on Anthony Black, 3,800. He could definitely pay off that price tag. Looking at it, going up against the Charlotte Hornets this season, he's given us 22, 22, and 34 fantasy points in these 3 games versus them. Definitely someone I wouldn't mind taking a swing or a stab at. In all those games, he played 25 or under in regards to the minutes. So the upside is real. It's there, and I like it. Outside of that, KCP, of course, we can take a look right there. Wendell Carter Jr. if you want to mess with that. But I will say Mark Williams being out there, he's actually a decent defender. And I don't think this is one of those upside plays that I could take for Wendell Carter Jr. Now, I will say I'm recording this at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. I would not be surprised if some type of news comes out that they're resting someone from Orlando, because it kind of would make sense. You don't need the full squad to beat the Charlotte Hornets. They're not trying to win. They're truly not. Flip side of things over to Charlotte, LaMelo Ball, if you want to mess with that, LaMelo has actually popped off going up against Orlando. He possibly could do it here again today. 54 and 68 fantasy points in those 2 games, 9,500. Very short. Nobody's going to really click that name. When you got SGA, you got Cade, you got Trey Young, Fred VanVleet, you know, the value that we actually had at the guard position, nobody's going to really truly want to click on LaMelo Ball. And I agree. I don't even want to click on LaMelo Ball, but makes for a GPP option. Same thing for Miles Bridges, Josh Green, Mark Williams. All those guys, decent spots, places you can go to, but none of them truly stick out or anything that I feel like you have to go to, nor am I going to try to force into my line. Now, the San Antonio Spurs, the big thing over here is I want to know what's going on with Castle. So dealing with the hyperextension of his right knee. Man, That's gotta know if he's gonna be back. If he's gonna be out, that's gonna be interesting if he's actually gonna be out. All right, so if Castle's gonna be out, so I had to take a pause break to go look. Of course, I love Vassell, period, just because Vassell, he's definitely stepping up over these last couple games, scoring at a crazy clip. But he also offers the peripheral stats with the assists, the rebounding, and of course, Chris Paul, he's there, but not necessarily something I want to click on. Granted, it's crazy how I said I wouldn't play Chris Paul unless his price dropped down to something crazy, and of course, he drops down to 4,700, and still, the minutes, not enough for me to necessarily get it, but if I land there, I wouldn't hate it if I landed right there at that 4,700 price tag. I wouldn't, but I would really focus more on the younger guys over here on the team. So like Harrison Barnes, I toss him out the window. The main guys that I'll focus to, especially if Castle gets ruled out, somebody's going to start for Castle. And to me, it is a toss-up of looking at it. Champagny, he played decent minutes in that last game, 23 minutes off the bench for them. Blake Wesley, down here at 3,300. He played 26 minutes in that game last time. 25 fantasy points out there. Pretty good defensive stats and everything over there for them. Outside of that, Keldon Johnson, he's of course always going to be in contention to play as someone that you can look to, but we really have to get the starting news. Best flag plant that I can really truly stay, that I wouldn't mind getting to, and that I do like the upside for, that's going to be Vassell. Of course, just Vassell right now until we can get the word and news on what's going to happen over here if Castle's going to be in. If Castle's in, no problem, and he's good to go. I do like Castle. 6,800, of course, 200 less than Vassell. Both of these guys kind of doing the same thing out there for the team. You can go with either one of those guys, and that's truly just it in my eyes when it comes down to it. Now, on the flip side of thing, going over here to Detroit, long as they don't pull no shenanigans on us again, like that's going to be the key over here for them. Cade being a late scratch was just stupid to me, but calf questionable. He missed Sunday's game due to bilateral calf soreness or whatever. Y'all were just trying to. I personally don't think anything was wrong with Cade. And plus, I talked to my boy who's who works in Little Caesars Arena. He said there was nothing wrong with Cade. There's nothing wrong with Cade. Simply put it, they were just trying to tank that game. They wanted to lose the game, and they just went out there and won. I was all right, cool, bet. So I imagine Cade should be back today. Hopefully, Cade goes out here and he plays his normal allotment of minutes. Give me 30-ish, 35 minutes, as long as the Spurs keep it close. Because this could be one of those spots where we get triple-double action Cade. I mean, looking at it, the Spurs are not anyone to worry about on the defensive side of the ball. They're truly not. They should be able to go out here and have their way. Jalen Duren, I don't care if you put Bismack Biyombo out there on him. Duren going to go out here and do what Duren wants to do. Of course, he's only going to play right around 30-ish minutes, 29, 30 minutes, depending on how close the game's going to be. But in that time frame, we've seen that he's been able to smash. Sitting at 7,200, right on the high end. Definitely not playing him once he gets over 75, just because that minutes cap right there. But Duren, definitely we can go there to him. As long as Tim Hardaway Jr. is back, you can take a chance on that. If he's going to be out, I would imagine that you are going to continue to see Malik Beasley go ahead, who has been playing much better than him anyway. He got the start last time for Tim Hardaway Jr. But pay attention to some of the guys off the bench. Marcus Sasser, he played some decent minutes, 26 minutes in that last game, 27.75 fantasy points. And especially if K is going to be out, then we could definitely see some more minutes for him right there. And then, of course, they should start Dennis Schroeder again, 4,700. That would be another value piece that you can get to right there over here on the team. But really for me, the main two, and it's always been the main two over here for me when it comes down to wanting to play anybody over here for Detroit, there's going to be Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren. Both these guys have really great matchups that I do like. And so far on the season, Cade, when he's played going up against the Spurs, 30 minutes, he dropped 47 fantasy points in the game versus them. Jalen Duren himself as well, he played 27 minutes and he dropped 52 fantasy points. And this was back in February. Last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the bum himself, but Tobias Harris, 5,900, typically the one that we look to hopefully do something out there for them. You could definitely take a chance on Toby if you want to. Golden State Warriors taking on the Miami Heat. Of course, let's just go straight to it. Jimmy Butler going up against the Heat. If Steph Curry was to miss, I would like Jimmy Butler more just because he's just doing everything over here for them. Just amazing stat lines that he's given us. 8,700. It's getting up there. The price is definitely, it's creeping up there real close to what I'm feeling uncomfortable playing. Now, if you want to mess with the revenge narrative, of course, go ahead, take the revenge narrative. He's in a good spot. I don't mind it. I'm not too sure how much revenge it is that he truly does have versus them. I understand they try to make him the bad guy. He was wanting to get up out of there. He was like, fuck Pat Riley. I don't want to be here. Screw you guys. Eric Spoelstra, fuck you too. Get me the fuck up out of here. I don't want to be here. Hopefully he can put that energy towards giving us some really great basketball on today. That's the main thing that I just want to see from Jimmy Butler. I do like some prop plays for Jimmy. The rebounds, his assist, maybe might look at the points. I'm not too sure. I don't know if Jimmy actually goes out here and drops full 40 just because his exit from here isn't the same like what I saw when he exited from Philly, and it's not the same that I saw when he exited from Minnesota, where he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna F y'all up. So hopefully you can mess with the revenge narrative if you want to. He's in a good spot. But if Curry's out, then it elevates Jimmy Butler on the radar for me. If Curry's in, Jimmy's kind of towards the middle of the pack. Outside of that, if Curry is going to be out, then I do, of course, like Podominski, 6,300. We know he's going to run the show. He's going to be out there. 30-plus minutes over his last 2 games, 38.5 fantasy points, 19 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds. Upside's there for the kid. I like it. Shooting that 3-ball pretty well. What am I getting there? Draymond Green, he's there. 6,700. You can mess with that if you want to, but not necessarily my cup of tea. Moses Moody, that's an okay spot as well, but outside of that, not really necessarily trying to force or jam any of those guys necessarily into my line. And then on the flip side of things, going over here to the Miami Heat, big thing, of course, Tyler Hero. Yes, you can mess with that. Bam Adebayo. They actually have been giving up some pretty good rebounds to opposing centers, which we know Bam will play the center spot along with Khalil Ware. I do like the price tag on Khalil Ware, 5,500, good spot. I just need to see him get the extended minutes. It really sucked because he should have closed in a game versus the Charlotte Hornets. They were up. They were up by 20 for a good portion of that fourth quarter. And Ware was legit just sitting on the bench, didn't check back into the last 30 seconds. Just drove me crazy because I was like, bro, he's been stuck at 31.5 to start the fourth quarter. No reason why Ware was not on the court. He was playing fine. He was playing good. 6 of 10 from the field, misses threes, okay. But 8 rebounds, 5 assists, a block. He could have more if you would let me. The fucking Charlotte Hornets playing their B squad, bro. Come on, y'all. But what am I going right back to the well with Ware? 5,500, good price tag to me. Definitely feel like the upside could be there because we have seen opposing centers. They've been cooking versus the Warriors. Aneko Kamu just dropped 51.5. Jakopoto in limited minutes dropped 34. Aaron Gordon, when he had to play small ball center, 48.5. Karl Anthony Towns, 52.5. Now, and wait, better yet, Donovan Clingan, 43.75. Now, I'm not saying that Khalil Ware is the God-given talent at center, but the upside that he should have if they let him cook could be huge for us here on the day, especially at 5,500. While everyone is trying to jam in the Andrew Wiggins, they're trying to jam in the Jimmy Butler. Look at the other players that make sense over here. And that's one of those that makes sense, makes a lot of sense to me. Now, on the flip side of things, Andrew Wiggins, 61.25, 40. We're going to ignore that 9. 40, 38. 6,300, playing some pretty good ball. I don't mind going here. I'm not too sure if there's like a true revenge factor. If he left on a sour note or anything like that from them, you definitely can mess with that. If you want to have that belief in regards to it, definitely mess with it. But I'm not going into my lines going with yo, there's a revenge narrative to take right here on it. I'm not. Flip side of things, Dallas taking on New York Knickerbockers. Looking at it. No Anthony Davis, he's going to be out. No Gafford, Lively. They still have a decent number of guys they can actually rotate through. Edwards, he should be active today and should play, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of go right back to the normal well of what I would want to play over here, which would be PJ Washington, Najee Marsh. Still kind of thin at the forward spots in regards to them. And these guys, with no Anthony Davis being out there, should have all the usage and everything that they need. 12 shots, even with AD being out there, should go out there and still take 15, 16 shots, play 30 plus minutes, especially if New York keeps it close, which New York is a good team. They should be able to keep this close and be out there. It's going to be if Dallas can actually keep it close. So I don't mind looking toward both those guys. Now, the one that I am shocked that I have to actually somewhat give flowers to, somewhat say that he's doing a good job. And now watch, he's going to come out here and shit the bed. But Spencer didn't shitty himself. 45, 49, 46, 33. Said it yesterday. I got to consider it. Only played 29 minutes yesterday, so not bad in regards to minutes. And producing those 29 minutes, 45.25 fantasy points is not a small feat in that amount of time. 4 steals. The steals, that's big. I do like the upside for Spencer Dinwiddie. I wouldn't mind if I landed here in the spot. Now, granted, on the flip side of things, you guys already seen it. Cameron Payne at 4,600 just makes so much sense. You don't have to pay that much. You're getting 2K savings for a player that's going to pretty much give you right around the same, I'll say same floor as what Dinwiddie will give you, right in the like 25-ish range. It's the same thing Cameron Payne's going to be able to do because he really ain't got no backup. He doesn't. So Dinwiddie, what am I going there? But Brandon Williams definitely could get on board with my boy Brandon Williams. I mean, just continues to produce elite numbers in limited minutes. It's just maddening what this kid can do. Really good over there. Kai Jones, he's looking great as long as he's getting the start and he's playing the minutes and stuff. He should still be out there for about 25-ish plus minutes going up against New York. If he's going to keep himself out of foul trouble versus Cat, that's going to be the real big question that has to be asked. On the flip side of things, I already talked about Cameron Payne. He's going to be, of course, just de facto in every single lineup that I make. And yeah, you boys kind of doing a little bit of ticket hunting, trying to get a ticket into some of these bigger contests and things like that, versus just trying to sink my bread into it. Definitely trying to get some tickets. But on the flip side of things for New York, Karl-Anthony Towns, I've continued to want to play Towns, and I've played him a couple times with Brunson being out, because I feel like Towns is next up. It's Towns. Towns should give us what we need right here. But he has not truly delivered that big, huge game. The 52.75 versus Washington, that was a step in the right direction. I had to play 37 minutes to get there, though. 10 of 20 from the field, 50%, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to jump off the wagon just yet. I might give Towns one more shot. I think this should be a decent spot where he should be able to still go out here and just destroy and smash. 35 minutes versus Dallas earlier this season back in November. He dropped 52 fantasy points. You're telling me they don't got the exact same bigs that they had back then? This could be a spot that we get Towns to be able to just deliver us a nuke of a performance, possibly at low ownership. Now, of course, outside of Towns, definitely you can mess with Mikal Bridges. He's been pretty good himself as well, especially with no Miles McBride. 48 fantasy points in that last game. Those playmaking duties, the defensive stats, everything, the scoring, all that looked good. Of course, it was Washington. OJ Anunoby, he will remain always the GPP option, because you're either going to get GPP takedown OJ Anunoby, or you're going to get a floor game OJ Anunoby. There's no in between right there when it comes down to him. And then Josh Hart, the Swiss Army knife that can do everything but sometimes doesn't do anything. He's due. But I would much rather just play Cameron Payne, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart. That is how I would rank them when it comes down to it for me. Like, straight up, I can't. I could not look in any other direction when it comes down to it. Atlanta taking on Houston. Trae Young, OG Anunoby, Dyson Daniels, Karis LeVert, Zachary Shea, Georgia Stang. All those guys, of course, are going to be in contention to play. I imagine that everyone in this game will be low owned, especially from the Hawks side, just because it's the Hawks. They're going up against what you would consider a pretty good Houston defensive team. To me, though, like I always say, if you can't play Trae Young, look to come down to Dyson Daniels. It's not a bad spot, and it's not bad to get down here to Dyson, who versus them earlier this season, back in January, played 37 minutes, dropped 45 fantasy points versus them. We know that he has that block and steal upside that he's going to, I mean, come on. Gets a steal in almost every single game. Not even almost. He's leading the league in steals. He can play make a little bit if he needs to. If he has to, he'll go ahead and he'll do it. He's coming off of 27.25 fantasy points with 5 steals. Did not have his shot falling in that game versus Philly. 4 of 12 from the field, only 8 points. If you're telling me that he went out there and probably got us about 15 points, give me about 15 points, maybe a couple, like 2 more rebounds, he would have gave us a really good day. I don't mind going up here to Dyson Daniels. Played them very well last time he played them. Jalen Green, he's going to be all over Jalen Green. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a couple of steals and stuff like that off of Jalen, and then just being able to lead a fast break or something like that. The upside is definitely going to be there for him. Outside of that, everyone else is honestly GPP options. You can mess with Karis LeVert. We know he's going to play the minutes off the bench, things of that nature. The minutes are pretty secure, 5,100, but you do have some Cavs players that you should be looking at today, especially with Donovan Mitchell being out and the fact that they are included on the slate. That's where I would shift my attention to instead. Georgia Stang, he's playing some pretty consistent minutes. You can definitely look there. Coming off of back-to-back 20 point games with 30 plus fantasy points. So the upside is definitely within the cards for him. Outside of that, we should say just too dependent on scoring and doesn't give us too much in the other peripheral stats over there for us. All right, on the Houston Rockets side of things, with Jalen Green being the main guy that I see being defended pretty well here in this spot by Dyson Daniels. I think looking at all the other pieces here. Now, Fred VanVleet went out there and destroyed the slate and then came right back to fucking earth. 18.25 fantasy points, 2 of 12 from the field. And yes, I played him and I was pissed off every second watching him play. Good bounce back spot, 6,200, probably going to be low owned. Wouldn't mind the upside. Outside of that, of course, Amen Thompson, the Swiss Army knife that can go out here and stuff a stat sheet, give us some defensive stats, give us everything that he can do, also score. Wouldn't mind going to him. Played 31 minutes versus them earlier this season, dropped only 28 fantasy points in that game, but definitely upside could be there, and I wouldn't mind taking a stab at him. And unfortunately, I have to say his name just because right now he's kind of fit into my builds, and I'm looking at trying to get him out because I don't necessarily want to play Dylan Brooks today. But played 32 minutes last time versus them, only 15 fantasy points. Definitely has been delivering a little bit. Definitely some back and forth Good spots, bad spots, good spots, bad spots, but we could definitely mess with Dylan Brooks if you want to go there as well. But Fred VanVleet would be just my candidate for a bounce back spot. Shane Goat, 9K. I'd rather just go ahead and pay it for Towns, if I'm being very honest. Here in the spot, I don't mind going to him, but I would rather just pay it for Towns. And then Amen Thompson just makes quite a bit of sense to me. The bench guys, not really going to look to it. I will say, if you're looking for like a cheap option at center, Steven Adams, for whatever reason, is seeing 20-ish minutes a game. Like, he's legit, his minutes are ticking like right there. I don't know if this is ramp up for the playoffs to get him ready or something like that, but this is something pretty sneaky that I would look to. 4,200. It's going to take up either the center or the util spot, but definitely something you should consider if you're looking at it. Memphis Grizzlies going over here to them, taking on the Utah Jazz. This right here should be an interesting game, back and forth. Two teams that play pretty fast, and defense should be close to non-existent that I could see for myself. On the Memphis side of things, Ja's going to be out. Of course, we're looking towards Scottie Pippen Jr., Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Luke Kennard. Whoever gets to start between Luke and Scottie, play one of those guys. Hope that the other guy will be lower owned if you want to have a pivot in GPPs. Their price points pretty much stay right there next to each other, 5K and 48. Both of those guys, just depends on who's going to be on. Who's going to be on and who's going to have the bigger night. That's all it depends right here. But I will say, my favorite play, and he's the cover photo for a reason. Right now, currently one of my core plays, Jaren Jackson Jr., 7,800. I will take that. Yes, please, all day, every day, twice on a Sunday. Just doesn't make any sense to me. 30 minutes versus them back in January, 41 fantasy points. 7,800 for a guy, I understand, last couple of games haven't been anything like, whoa. But this is the spot that he legit should be like, yo, play him. Play him. 7,800 just makes some sense to me, especially Desmond Bane. This is your GPP pivot. You don't want to pay for JJJ. Get the pivot for Desmond Bane, who will be lower owned between the two. Like, it's very much honest right there. But the upside for JJJ should be there. I don't mind it at all. Santi Aldama, 1K difference in regards to it, but he's starting and he's playing some pretty good minutes out there for them. 32 minutes in that last game versus the Clippers, 35.75 fantasy points, a good fantasy point per minute producer himself. Also stuffs the stat sheet everywhere. So I do like the upside for him when it comes down to it. Definitely wouldn't mind going in that direction. But if I got to rank these guys over here for my favorite plays, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr., Santi Aldama, Luke Kennard, and then Desmond Bane. That's how I would rank them over here, like value-wise to me in my eyes, and where I would kind of focus on first. Scottie and Jaren Jackson Jr. I understand both those guys are more than likely going to be higher owned, and that's when you can make the pivot to a Santi Aldama, Luke Kennard, or a Santi Aldama, Desmond Bane, or Luke Kennard and Desmond Bane. Like, those would be the pairs that I would look to, but I definitely feel like you should be wanting to get something from this game and want to play it. On the flip side of things, over here on Utah, Utah is really kind of starting to become annoying and a mess to me, and not one of the teams that I truly want to focus on or necessarily get plays from, just because it's the minutes, they're there, they're not there, depending on who they're starting, what they're doing. All these things have just been a big factor in regards to it. Walker Kessler went from being a really great, amazing play early in the season to now they want him to just shoot threes. Like, he's taking so many threes. Why are we trying to make him a stretch big in this regard? I don't understand it. But 7,100, I'm not necessarily looking to go in that direction, especially I already got my guy Jaren Jackson Jr., who doubles as power forward and center. But I will say, if they continue to start Kyle Filipowski at the power forward spot, or he's also going to play some time at the center spot, I do not mind looking towards Filipowski here at the spot. Now, he has not started versus Memphis. He did play decent minutes, 20 minutes versus them, 21 fantasy points, 16 minutes, 23 fantasy points in the two games that he did play versus them. And to me, he's the better of the two between him and Walker Kessler when it comes down to it. And that's where I would want to go to when I have to make a decision. Outside of that, Colin Sexton, 6K. The only issue is that the minutes, man, they've been up, down, left, right. Don't know what's going to happen. Makes for a GPP option if you want to go there. I will say he's played very well versus the Grizzlies so far in the season. 25 minutes, 25 fantasy points, 30 minutes, 29 fantasy points, and 30 minutes, 41 fantasy points in the 3 games that they played this season. So I do see merit and want to go in that direction. I will say Collier somewhat seems to be the safer of the guards, just because it seems like he's still going to play right around 30 minutes. It's so spotty with these guards over here for Utah. I really just rather play the Memphis guards because I know they're going to play the minutes, and just mess around with the forwards over here for Utah. Like that's just what makes sense to me, and I really don't want to risk my money on the wrong direction. So I'm not even gonna try to even dive any deeper into that right there. OKC taking on the Sacramento Queens. When it comes down to it, SGA is SGA. 25 points seems to be his floor of what he's going to at least go out there and do. Horrible shooting night going out versus the Los Angeles Clippers last time. But hey, we got the dub, and you guys already know it. We're going to run through the West. Easy day. GPP options, honestly, over here for me, unless somebody gets ruled out, ruled in, I'm not too interested in anybody for my Thunder. I really do want to just X this game off, and I'm not too interested. On the Sacramento Queens side of things, looking over here for them is kind of the same boat for me, but I will say I would have to have some interest if Malik Monk was to get ruled out. Then of course Keon Ellis, decent value, 5,400 will be someone you could look at. Outside of that, maybe if you want to take a stab at Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis typically does cook us whenever he has played going up against us in the past. 35 minutes, 46 fantasy points, 31 minutes, 34 fantasy points. Last season he was literally just a menace going up against us, so maybe you can go there, but I will say that these guys did play some pretty heavy minutes last night, especially DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Keegan Murray. So I'm not really too interested in too much over there. Now the Cleveland Cavaliers versus Portland, I'm very much interested in getting some stuff from this game versus the other game. With Donovan Mitchell being out, everybody gets a boost. Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, and Ty Jerome. Those are the main guys that get a boost with him being off the court. The only issue is that Ty Jerome is still going to come off the bench. Ty Jerome is still going to be limited to around 25-ish minutes. Now, I understand the last time that they played Portland, he went out there, he played 36. The game went to OT. He dropped 52.75 fantasy points. The game went to OT. He also went out there and he had 6 steals. The game went to OT. I'm going to make sure I reiterate that. Ty Jerome is typically capped around 25 minutes. He legit plays off the bench, but he's a firecracker. He comes out there, he scores, he can play some really good defense. I don't mind looking towards Ty Jerome, and I'm really on the fence because I typically don't look towards bench players necessarily, especially as core plays. I really don't look toward him as that, but I find it harder and harder not to want to look towards Ty, especially the price that he's sitting at, 44. It makes sense. Good spot, late night hammer, especially with the up and down shooting that I get from Darius Garland whenever I do want to play him. Granted, he's played pretty well over his last couple games. You could definitely take a swing over there. I don't mind it, but you guys already know my DFS darling is going to be Evan Mobley. I will continue to want to go ahead and play him over anyone else over here on the Cavs just because he's been more consistent. I know he can play make. He will rebound. He'll play the defense, and he will go out there and score. And the boost that he gets with Donovan Mitchell being off the court, I like the upside. Jared Allen, last time looks like he kind of got ran off the court going up against Portland. He only played in that game 26 minutes in an OT game, dropped 37 fantasy points in it, so you can still mess with it. He was able to deliver and get there, but not necessarily at 6,900 looking to get there when I could just pay up for my boy Jaren Jackson Jr. On the flip side of things for Portland, it's Denny Avdia and nobody else really to me. 7-7 just makes for the perfect late night hammer because you know you're going to get at least 30 plus fantasy points from him. The way that he's been playing, Jeremy Grant being out, the way that he stuffs the stat sheet, everything that he does over here for them, it screams 7,700. Are you serious? Like between him and Jaren Jackson Jr., they make for the perfect mid-tier option plays. And I just love the upside for both of them here. Outside of that, of course, we can look towards Kamara. We can look towards Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons. If you want to mess with that, I don't mind that. 6,400 makes sense. Really kind of his scoring has come down a little bit. Playmaking, not really all right there, especially with Denny Avdia and everything that he's doing. So you can mess with that if you want to. But Denny Avdia, real main play. Shaedon Sharpe, GPP option. Same thing for Simons, Kamara, Klingon, all those guys. Contentiable plays, but not anything necessarily that you have to get to. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Hopefully you guys were able to get a little something from this. Good luck to everybody out there. All my content, everything will be posted. If you're looking for it, hit that join button over there for the YouTube membership tab right over there next to the subscribe button, and then also check the link down in the description below for the Patreon. Good luck. Peace.